If you remember 4 or 5 months ago, I kind of said I wanted to tone down the amount of product reviews I was doing on this channel and provide you with more like tutorials and how-tos, things that are gonna actually provide you value. The best way I can provide value is taking the 20 years of personal training knowledge I have and try to help you navigate injury, health, and fitness as best as I can. And that's what we're going to do today. I'm gonna try to give you 4 training methods that you probably aren't doing. I'm almost gonna guarantee you're not doing. But if you were to do them, one, you would drastically reduce the amount of injury you have, but also improve your performance. So if you are an endurance athlete, you're gonna get better at running, biking, and swimming. Number 1 is grip training. I have made a few videos on grip strength training and how it can radically improve your overall strength. And that's really why we're making this video. Endurance athletes don't do a ton of grip specific training, but they are training more now for strength than I've ever seen them, which is super cool and very smart. However, there's one particular type of grip strength training that they're still not doing, and this is the one you need to do in order to stave off things like tendonitis or toddler's elbow. That's actually a real thing. My wife got it. There are different types of grip strength. We've got things like crushing grip or pinch grip. But today we're going to be focusing on extension, the extension of the fingers. All of the grip work you're doing, whether it's intentional or not. And what do I mean by intentional? Actual grip training. Unintentional would just be lifting, like a hammer curl with, like a bicep curl, doing pull-ups, doing deadlifts. All that involves your grip. Believe it or not, when you're on the bike or when you're swimming, you're also contracting a lot of those same muscles through your forearm and your elbow. And it's just repetitive contraction with no extension that leads to something like tendonitis. How do we train for extension? It's actually very simple. We can get a rubber band or one of these funny looking devices that I got off of Amazon. We slip our fingertips through it and we just work on expanding our fingers. Now, all of this stuff that I'm gonna mention in this video, I want you to take slowly. I don't want you to go gung-ho. Just do a couple of sets, 2 to 3 sets, 6 to 8 reps, just once every other week. I know what you're thinking, grip strength training, really? Yes, believe me, when I worked in Park City, which is a huge endurance community, most of the endurance athletes rode bikes, and if not, they loved being outdoors. And a lot of the sports that they did outdoors, tennis, rowing, paddleboarding, it's gonna involve your grips, and that's your forearms and your elbows. And we saw a lot of elbow tendonitis, forearm injuries, etc. So this is a super easy way to prevent all of that. And if you improve your grip strength, you're going to improve your overall strength. And if you improve your overall strength, you're gonna have more power. And for a runner or a bike, swim, that's gravy. The next training method or skill, I would probably call it, is proprioception. Proprioception is balance and control. Unfortunately, when I was a trainer and I worked with endurance athletes, they waited way too long to do any proprioceptive work. It is not reserved for seniors. Most common injury to a senior is a fall, but if we wait until we're a senior to start working on balance and control, it's too late. This is something we need to be doing right now. It's gonna help strengthen the muscles in our feet, which is gonna help us whenever we're on our feet, whether it's walking or running or rucking or whatever. But it also helps us make a better mind-muscle connection, and that's gonna help prevent us from falling. But if you like to trail run, this is going to serve you immensely. Proprioceptive work is very easy to do, but it's also very easy to overdo. So I'm gonna give you a little progression to help you ease into it. And just remember that this is only scratching the surface of what you can do for proprioceptive work. The first thing we're gonna do is simply just stand and close one eye. And I want you to think about how much you start to sway back and forth. Do 15 seconds per eye. For the next set, we're gonna stand and close both eyes. See how long you can make it before you really start to move. Now we're gonna pick up the challenge. We're going to close one eye and stand on one leg. Do this for 15 seconds on each leg. The next progression is gonna be much harder. Stand on one leg and close both eyes. And for this final progression, we're going to stand on one leg, but we're gonna stand on an uneven surface. So something like a foam core board, a half a foam roller, or one of those half Bosu balls. And you can switch between one eye or one leg. This is a really cool product my wife got not too long ago. It's called the Slack Block. And basically, you can see this foam, it's cut out, and so it adds some instability, but you got a nice flat surface your foot can go on, and it mimics slacklining, which is really popular. And if you watch any of those people do slacklining, it will blow your minds. But this is a great way to practice. Not sponsored, not even mine. Number 3 is training in the transverse plane. Believe it or not, endurance athletes, there are more than one training plane. Everything you do, running, biking, swimming, all lives in the sagittal plane. The sagittal plane is essentially cutting us down the middle, separating the left and the right hand side. And it's because of so much training volume in this one plane that you guys get injured so much, especially with your lower back and your hips. There's also the frontal plane, which separates us down the middle, separating the front and the right hand, or the front and the back side. But the transverse plane cuts us in half, separating the top from the bottom, and it is what allows us to twist. Now there are a litany of different transverse plane types of exercises, but today I'm just gonna focus on training our LPHC, or our lumbopelvic hip complex. These are 3 very simple exercises we can do to train that, starting from the least explosive to the most explosive. The first one is just a banded wood chopper. I'm just attaching a band up high, going onto one leg, raising the other, and coming across my body like I'm chopping wood. Hence the name. The second one, you've probably done it or seen somebody do it, is just a simple med ball toss. We're slightly rotating in, flexing that glute, and throwing the ball against the wall. The last one is the most powerful one, and this is a rotational med ball throw. The most important part of this whole exercise is to be explosive. And the last training technique is plyometrics. And you might be thinking, Brandon, why on earth would you have me doing something that they usually reserve for a team sport like football, basketball, volleyball? But trust me, there is huge carryover to what you're doing as an endurance athlete, especially if you're a runner. Well, what are plyometrics? Essentially, they're exercises that help you improve your reactive force. And if you're a runner, this means less ground contact time. And if you're a runner, you know that that's a good thing. Everything I'm going to show you is at its most base form. Nothing crazy ballistic, no shock jumps. This isn't 1970s Soviet Union, all right? What we're going to be doing is 2-leg and single leg, very high speed, multi-response plyometric jumps. So essentially what I've done is made a little grid on the floor here using some tape. And it's separated out by a big cross, which makes 4 different quadrants. And all we're going to do is jump between each quadrant for 10 seconds, whether that's 1 to 2, or 1 to 3, 1 to 4, etc. Now there are a few ways to make this more challenging. We could just go for longer, we could switch to one leg, or we could add another quadrant. So instead of just jumping from one quadrant to another and then back, we're gonna add in another quadrant. So instead of going 1, 2, 1, we're gonna go 1, 2, 3, 1. Haven't done these in a long time, and they are very tiring. A couple of things that I forgot to mention while you're doing these. There are some contraindications you wanna look out for, and if you can't do it properly, we don't want to do it. One of those things is your heel hitting the ground? You really need to keep your calf, your Achilles, and your foot very tight and stiff while you do this. And if your heel continues to hit the ground, that means you cannot properly handle that force, and we want to stop doing it. Like I said, it's very easy to overdo plyometrics even at this basic level. I've got a bunch of other videos from a long time ago showing you other different plyometrics, so once you've progressed past this, go check those out. I'll link that in the description below. Well, that's it. What'd you guys think? Hopefully that was super helpful. Hopefully you found that information valuable, or at the very least a little entertaining. If you did, please do me a huge favor and hit that like button and consider subscribing. I mean, it's free and we do some pretty kick-ass giveaways on this channel. Also, if you have a Whoop, you know how big of a fan I am of Whoop, you can also join my private Whoop community called the Super Secret Club. Shh, don't tell anybody. Code to get into that community is also down in the description. If you don't have a Whoop, you can grab one, also using the link, and it saves you some money. Well, thanks again for watching. Catch you on the next one. Peace.